very fortunate that Senator Murray and members of the legislature, members of the House who've worked with us to provide the environmental bond bill that provided the sources for the acquisitions that we're celebrating today. But if you think about it, these dollars that were represented in the transaction are really just bookends. They start at Halfway Pond in Plymouth and then end down in Maple Springs and Wareham. And all the way along the river corridor, all along the Miles Standard State Forest, through the use of a transfer of development rights bylaw that was created in partnership, coming out of a discussion that quite candidly said there were a lot of things that we focused on that we didn't agree on between the conservation community, the towns where Makepeace owns land, and the company and the state environmental agencies. But there are a lot more things that we do agree on. And one of the things that we focused on is that there were these lands, including where we stand today, that deserve to be preserved in perpetuity.
I think we've come to a very long process, a very fair and equitable way of protecting land and as well giving them the value of what should be feeling when you own property, private property. And I think we've struck that balance. And with that, it's also, in my opinion, needs a great deal of credit. It needs to go to the town of Plymouth and the planning department, whether it's Lee Hartman or Valerie, the town planner, the planning board, and all the work that they've done year in and year out working on this process in AD Makepeace. I know that, as you mentioned, Lauren Tripp and Malcolm McGregor and Mark and all the different members of the planning board who worked tirelessly hour upon hour on this particular project to make sure it worked in the best interest of the town of Plymouth. And I'm just incredibly impressed with what we've been able to accomplish.
And it's this kind of collaboration that just speaks volumes about what it means for land conservation and smart growth development. And as Wareham's representative, also Carver, and talking about neighbors, AD Makepeace has made it a goal of the company to demonstrate continuously that they are a good neighbor and that they do understand the concerns of their neighbors and have demonstrated, and I'm sure will continue to do so, meaning that they will always put the interests of the community at heart.
Clearly that's a tribute to the people, the family that stewarded this land over, well over a century, the Makepeace family. I think it was fabulous to see a family preserve such a legacy that enabled a day like today to happen, to be possible. The Conservancy prides itself, as Mary said, on using good science to focus in on those lands that are the most significant in a global context. And if there's any place in the United States, let alone Massachusetts, that meets those qualifications, it's the land we're standing right in the middle of now.
We're all part of the planning process here, and I'm just going to make a general thanks to all of you for a job well done over the course of many years. I have kind of an interesting perspective on this project because I look at it in two ways. I look at it as a municipal land planning regulator, that of a planning board member, but I also look at it as a spectator. I'm an environmental professional. Many of you know me. I've worked with many of you before. So I get to see the project develop from the business side, and kudos to Makepeace Company for everything they've done, former and current members and employees. But this is really the way land development projects have to proceed from here on in.
We are